Ok, bonjour tout le monde, aujourd'hui on fait une vidéo sur The Stanley Parable. Bon, c'est ultra deluxe, mais ça, vas-y, on s'en fout. Et bah, c'est juste ça à dire en fait, hein, c'est juste l'introduction. Ah si, j'ai un petit truc à dire. Même le jeu me troll lorsque je veux faire mes introductions. C'est-à-dire que j'ai lancé le jeu, le gameplay que vous allez voir, c'est avant que je tourne l'introduction. J'ai relancé le jeu, et au début du jeu, il nous demande de régler l'heure à laquelle on est. Bon, il se trouve que je l'ai réglé 2 fois du coup, et le jeu m'a troll. Le jeu m'a mis tout un paragraphe avant que je puisse accéder pour faire l'intro. Vous allez voir.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ah, ok, c'est à moi de jouer. Oh, what the fuck. Oh non. Oh non. Oh non, je sneak avec la gâchette gauche. Ah, c'est quoi ça? Ah, par contre, c'est très drôle. Ok. Ouais, on va expliquer les touches, je pense. C'est fermé. C'est fermé. Je vais tout fouiller.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Putain, c'est incroyable. Alors, faut savoir que The Stanley Parable, il y a une... Il y a un...
No matter how hard Stanley
Putain, mais...
looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
Voilà.
co-workers.
Je vais mettre pause. The Stanley Parable, il y a le narrateur, donc on entend, qui est codé pour réagir à ce que l'on fait. Et c'est-à-dire que là, j'ai spammé le bouton pour normalement prendre un objet dans le jeu, j'imagine, sur tous les objets du bureau. Et comme vous avez entendu, le narrateur dit Stanley touche tous les objets de son bureau, mais ça ne fera pas avancer l'histoire. Et donc, normalement, si je fais ça... Alors, avec Ivius Bug, on pouvait y aller. J'ai vu dans une vidéo. Si tu sors dans cette fenêtre, il faut savoir que cette fenêtre est une pièce, par exemple. C'est un exemple parfait. Cette fenêtre est une pièce à part entière, c'est juste qu'elle est flashée. Et si on rentre dedans, le narrateur dit une phrase. Je ne connais pas la phrase. Mais en gros, il fait en sorte qu'on comprenne qu'on est en hors map. Mais les développeurs avaient prévu ça. Je vais augmenter déjà le champ de vision. Et la sensi un peu parce que là... Voilà. Voilà, c'est bien. C'est quoi ça? Ok. Attends, j'ai un peu trop augmenté là. Ok, bon, ce jeu est assez connu, hein, donc voilà. Mais juste que bah, j'ai jamais joué, en fait, j'ai téléchargé il y a 10 minutes. Comme à peu près chaque jeu que je teste aléatoirement comme ça en vidéo. On est où là, Gérard? Pourquoi? Oh putain, stylé.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Non, je vais à droite. Non, 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 attendez. Il a dit qu'il fallait que je choisisse de rentrer à gauche. Mais, forcément, je vais aller à droite. Parce que les joueurs, ils veulent pas aller dans ce que le narrateur a dit. Sauf que, vu qu'ils ont dit on allait aller à gauche, et qu'il a cru que je vais aller à droite, et ben je vais aller à gauche. Ah ouais, par contre, il a fermé. Dommage, en fait, il fallait aller à droite. Putain.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
C'est qui
Feeling a
ferme?
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
C'est pas un jeu d'horreur, pour ceux qui veulent savoir. Oh, oh putain, je peux ouvrir. Et vous voyez là, peut-être qu'il va réact si je fais ça. Non, bah il s'en fout.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Je suis sûr qu'il n'y a pas de série. Mais c'est un jeu qui va me faire passer pour un con, ça, je connais. Attends, non, vas-y. Ah.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom
Voilà.
closet. No reason to still be here.
En vrai, c'est très stylé, hein. Franchement, j'aime beaucoup. Voilà, petite vidéo à l'improviste. Ça va faire partie de Ophir-Rediff, je pense, puisque cette vidéo n'a pas été préparée.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Non, je vais descendre. Ok. Oh. Il y a quoi là?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Mais là, je suis pas monté,
For
du coup.
example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Ah oui,
Why
merde.
did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real.
Oh, les
And
bâtards.
at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
Arrêtez!
Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job.
Arrêtez! Pitié!
After all.
À
He
l'aide!
thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon.
Oh,
I'll
putain,
go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he...
Attends, parce que... Et je peux pas mettre l'audio en français, j'ai mis le truc en français normalement. Pourquoi taille des sous-titres, afficher le réticule. On va mettre un petit réticule. Oh, le bruit il me termine. Attends, on peut changer le réticule. Ok, c'est juste un point.
He was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons.
Eh, par contre, tu parles trop.
It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job.
Oui.
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Non. Putain. Alors...
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Ah, mais il va faire ça tout le jeu.
Mariella woke
Je
up
connais pas le jeu,
like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Mais il parle beaucoup pour ne rien dire, dis donc. Oh putain. Oh bordel de merde.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Mais je connais pas le principe du jeu, bordel. C'est la merde.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Pourquoi on peut s'accroupir même? Pourquoi on peut s'accroupir si ça sert à rien?
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Non, bah non, du coup je vais pas aller là où il m'a dit d'aller.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ah les bâtards. Ah putain. Mais je comprends que dalle par contre. Hein. Vraiment. Je vous jure c'est... En fait c'est bien, c'est stylé, hein. C'est vraiment bien fait. Mais malheureusement il parle beaucoup. Beaucoup. Donc je pense que ce sera cut à certains moments. Parce que là... je vous jure c'est quelque chose. Hein. Ah tiens. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift. 1000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift. Bah, je peux pas sauter de toute façon.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Comment
I
ça,
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Ah, alors c'est bien. Hein.
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
C'est bien hein, de pas être mon ennemi, hein, mais en fait depuis le début c'est toi qui m'as tué tout à l'heure.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life.
Ah, t'es fermé les portes derrière. Pour ça, je suis... Waouh. Waouh, la porte est... La porte, elle fait peur. Je vais me prendre un big screamer, là. Je vais mourir, je sais pas. Oh, putain.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
Oh merde.
To reach out to her.
Oui, je peux débrancher.
Oh no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? That
Eh oui.
wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually
Attends, je l'embranche,
chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Double check.
Je crois que j'ai niqué le jeu.
Definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe
Et si je te debug?
I've not noticed it sooner.
Je te debug?
You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Eh ouais.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making.
Mais
or did you not grasp the severity of the situation?
Il est mort, Stanley,
Well, I wouldn't have that kind of risk on my watch.
J'ai suivi vos instructions, il est mort. Hein.
So we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Non. Putain, oh putain.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ok.
Welcome back.
Bah wesh, bah.
You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. Not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Ouais, c'est par là. Parce que je me disais. Mais ouais. Ouais. Mais c'est terrifiant un peu quand même. Putain.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Et potentiellement, j'essaierai de faire un truc où je fais... je me casse la gueule. Putain, on peut pas tomber là. Oh merde. Dommage. Il y a un code là, il faut un code. Faut une carte d'accès. Purée. Ah. Oh là. Ok. Pourquoi je rebrousse chemin là? Non mais il faut croire qu'on a des choix, mais en vrai on n'a pas de choix. Hein. Je vous jure.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
J'ai le droit d'avoir des doutes. Non, parce que la dernière fois Stanley il est mort en fait, donc.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ok. Y a pas un...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ah oui, merde, ok, elle est fermée du coup, ouais, parce que ça fait partie du...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Putain, y a tellement de fins possibles, c'est trop bizarre en fait. Si j'ai envie de tout tester, mais je sais que je peux pas tout tester, ça m'occuper, genre recommencer le jeu à chaque fois. Wow, sont chelous les reflets. Et j'ai un peu d'inertie, c'est trop bizarre. Genre là, je mets des petits coups et ça me fait glisser, c'est très bizarre. Ouais. Ok, ouais, c'est ce que je me dis. Il est chelou le bureau, hein, vraiment. Waouh.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Bah... Faut... requin machin truc. J'ai oublié le nom.
Stanley spoke the code.
Requin nocturne 115.
115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Requin machin truc 115.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Faut utiliser le truc où... Faut utiliser le micro.
Okay, fine. You're not gonna do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect.
Mais je sais pas comment ça marche.
Choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
J'ai envie de repartir à droite. Attendez, j'essaye.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Non. Ah merde. Ok. Bah, oh putain. Ah oui, d'accord. Ok, tout le truc est en train de partir en cacahuète. D'accord, bah on va passer à gauche. Attendez, je fais du moonwalk. Hihi. Bref. Non, ok. La porte, bah la porte.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you...
Oh putain.
My story.
Oh putain.
You've destroyed my work. Why? For what?
Ah, c'est drôle.
What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it?
Ouais,
To know
ouais.
that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way.
Putain, mais il
Better
est
to shut the
défoncé.
game
Hein.
down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Je peux éteindre le jeu, y a pas de
No,
problème.
I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to.
Non, non,
I
non,
have
non,
to.
non, 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 oh, oh, ah, oh le bâtard, ah, oh, oh putain. Uh-huh. Oui, 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 oui.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are.
Il est là.
My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
Ouais.
What, did you think that would be funny?
J'ai adoré.
You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Ouais.
Oh,
Ouais, bah, je
my story.
suis un gosse.
If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
Ah. Oh putain.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
On joue le narrateur.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need to
Zien.
walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
J'ai fini le jeu.
The story needs
Incroyable.
you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything.
Et ben merci d'avoir regardé la vidéo, c'était très intéressant. Bon, c'était du blabla hein, globalement, hein, mais si vous voulez tester le jeu, il est disponible sur PS5, PC et enfin sur PS, PlayStation. Je pense qu'il est disponible sur PS4 et je sais pas s'il est disponible sur Xbox et Switch. Switch, il me semble que si aussi, et Xbox, j'en ai aucune idée. Voilà. Et puis bah une prochaine fois peut-être pour croiser Stanley. Il parle toujours tout seul l'autre. Hein. Ouais, t'inquiète.